This project started with a simple question that kept returning to me. How can a transitional space become a design solution instead of remaining an observation? Our given area stretched from Church Street through the market across Paddington Green and the churchyard and down to Paddington Basin. My first method was repeated walking. I walked the same routes again and again, filmed short clips, sketched and annotated what changed along the way. I focused on simple behavioral signals, changes in pace, points of hesitation, route deviations, and stopping zones. I was looking for evidence of special pressure to map friction points along the route. At first, I selected small transition points, like a narrow passage at Plimpton Street or the slower edge at St. Mary's Churchyard. I could describe the liminal condition clearly, but when I tried to develop design responses, I realized I was only naming qualities. I was not finding a problem with architectural consequences. I kept asking myself, am I designing or am I just describing? That became my first turning point. I needed a clearer test for what counts as a brief. The base building was an option from the beginning, but I avoided it at first. The warehouse came with a fixed Fleming Center program brief, while my focus was rather on movement and thresholds. But when the development of numerous transition points didn't work out, I came back to investigate this site properly. I went to the archives. Old maps and plans already show this area as a working node of storage, transfer and service routes at the junction of the canal and railway. Then I returned to the site to observe it as a live system. There, between St. Mary's, Paddington Station and the canal, multiple flows overlap. Staff changing shifts, patients and visitors arriving and leaving, bicycles cutting through and commuters strolling. Yet, despite this role, the site is still treated as a leftover space. I tested interventions such as clearer wayfinding, lighting and public realm improvements, but they only beautified the surface. They didn't address the pressures I had mapped, and they didn't explain why the hospital mattered here. So I flipped the question. Instead of asking, what can I add here, I asked what is already acting on this space. I traced what the hospital sends out into the city, and one stream stayed constant: medical plastic. I first saw it as a material opportunity, then as a constraint. It can't enter standard recycling without separate treatment. That's when material choice became material as a system. From understanding how that process works, the warehouse shifted from an object to a spine for a controlled sequence. Its linear plan could hold a line of sealed storage with recycling and 3D printing happening step by step. But that created the next problem. If the system can produce parts continuously, what is the logic for sustaining that production? My early answers for the byproduct, like exhibition, information pavilion, or symbolic passage, failed that test. They all were one-off destinations, so they didn't need a daily material stream. That's where the brief narrowed to a regular user. The project moved toward identifying a human problem embedded in the site. I studied the sensory conditions produced by a hospital. Long shifts, alarms, queues, interruptions, and constant attention switching. So I set the goal as a short, bookable reset sessions, with low stimulation, privacy, and predictable comfort. Here, design became the hardest part. Because a 3D printed system could become almost anything, I kept generating options. Floating objects, sculptural capsules, movable rafts, portals, until they failed against the same practical demands. Spatial configuration, user access, assembly, maintenance, and safe canal interface. Through sketches and models, I tested those constraints. How openings cut glare, how a reflective lining carries water ripples inside, how a transparent floor lit from below changes enclosure, and how ventilation fins make the capsule breathable. I iterated a repeatable kit, base insulated panels, door infill, until it reliably controls light, sound, and visual depth. Hence, the space independently facilitates a sensory offload scenario, shaping users' experience in a short, structured time interval, without requiring any cognitive or physical effort from the visitor. In the final phase of the project, the warehouse becomes an infrastructure that carries both process and movement. A recycling line runs below, while a pass-through route above allows people to move through the site and read the transformation taking place beneath them. Together, these elements are organized as a single framework rather than separate architectural gestures. This film is a record of how I learned to build a brief from reality, not metaphor. The process was neither linear nor clean, but it was evolving. I started with transition as a fill-in, I ended with transition as a strategy.